Deseos más profundos, deseos más profundos, sueño, esperanza, sueño, esperanza.
So thank you all for coming. We're going to take you through a big journey tonight. Explain more of that in a second.
deseos más profundos. Sueño, esperanza. Sueño, esperanza. Deseos más profundos, deseos más profundos. Sueño, esperanza. Sueño, esperanza.
So in Mohawk we say sego. So I'm going to teach you a little Mohawk tonight. Sego. That means hello. It comes from the word peace, actually, because we're always concerned if people are peaceful around us. And I'm really glad you're all here. And I hope you're sort of comfortable over there, all cozy against the wall there. So we're sort of taking you through a journey today. There are many different musicians in the world, just like there are many different Native American nations and tribes. And so we have a big variety of styles of music. So this first piece is from my new album, and the music that when you walked in is from a new album that just came out this week called Rapidly Approaching Ecstasy. Isn't that awesome? I think we should all rapidly approach ecstasy. Hopefully when you listen to this music, that would be really good. And that'll be for sale afterwards, and we're going to do a piece at the end from that album too. So that's more chill music, I guess. One of my students the other day, I don't know if he's here, but I'm going to quote you. He said it was, what did he say now? Funkadelic? What did he say it was? Psychedelic funk. He said it was psychedelic funk. I don't know about that, but it was sort of cute to call me psychedelic funk. So that piece was from that album. And then the next piece I'm going to do is completely different genre of music, which is classical native music. We have about maybe 24 composers now across Canada and the United States who are writing classical music, contemporary classical music, mostly for chamber music and orchestras, some operas too. And we have been lucky to have 2 Navajo composers with us all week. So this is actually I think it's a premiere of this piece. It's called College Piece for Solo Cello because he actually wrote it when he was 19 years old, which I sort of find phenomenal. Completely different genre, so you sort of have to switch your mind and sort of go on a journey tonight because we're going to go through all different types of music as if we're telling a story. And the story is going to take you all over the place.
Bonjour. Anin yayin gish gukwindish nakaz waswaganin nandun jabam magizin and dem. What I said was, my name is Thurza. I'm from the Oneida and Ojibwe tribes. This song was given to me by my mentor, Kevin Locke, and this talks about walking in a good way, and it's supposed to have all of us walk on the good path of life. It goes a little something like this.
I just met Tio for the first time this week because we've been rehearsing on Skype for the last 2 years. Because he lives in Utah on the edge of the Navajo reservation with 300 people, but he does have Skype. He finds his Skype for rehearsals, which is sort of a beautiful thing. And in his music, I remember early on, he said, Don, when you play this, he really likes to balance what we call dissonant, which is, for those of you who don't know music, I know a lot of you do, but dissonant with consonants, right? So there's one that's can be considered tense and one that can be considered more relaxed. And he likes to balance that out throughout his piece. And one time he explained it as he wanted this sort of contained violence and then for it to be interspersed with this expansive sensuality. And he explained this in many different ways, but I do remember the first time that he explained that, it helped it click for me how I perform this piece. So maybe that'll be a little bit of insight for you. And he has some nice program notes in there too, you could read later if you want. But so this is Suite for Solo Cello by Tio Vicente. next piece can't be. I was commissioned to write in New York for a dance company in 1994, and then since I started working with Thurza, I decided to rewrite it using native percussion. So a lot of my music, I like to combine instruments. Like, as you could tell, I like to play cello in a sort of unusual way, and I also like to use native instruments in an unusual way when it comes to more classical compositions. So she's using a lot of different hand drums that all have different hides too. Like, this is antelope, this is buffalo, and the other ones are all deer. And then the bells, they're actually from India, but they sound a lot like Indian bells, and they were easier to wrap around. I think you might have brought those for me, actually. What else is in? I think that's it. And then we're both singing in the middle two secrets. We're singing secrets, so we won't tell you what we're singing about. Because we probably won't know until we get to it, I guess.
Oroskia vongundos que taueyo Oskia vie quayo pori quara caeyo do Via voscoria
I'm going to have another Tioism, the composer you heard earlier. He probably won't like that I quote it this way. I might be misquoting him, but at one point he said, you know, I see music, he loves Beethoven, and he said, sometimes I see music as, besides the like tension release kind of feeling, he said, you know, some intervals are just like having a great piece of cake. Like sometimes you have like this beautiful moment and it's like having cake. So now I'm going to give you your sweets. Sweet, a little sweets. So in Mohawk word, ochikeda. So everybody try that one, ochikeda. So if you have a sweet one next to you, you can lean over and whisper ochikeda, because it really means like my honey or a sweet one, or it literally means candy, but we call our honeys ochikeda. See, they've done it. See, look at that. They're even holding hands in the front row. Ooh, ochikeda. So if you don't have a loved one yet, just remember that word. It's a nice one, you know, to use in the, keep it in your book, book of tricks. So in the Mohawk creation story, what I decided to do was to write a, I see some of my students cracking up over there. I decided to write a love song that also uses concepts of the Mohawk creation story. So I'm Mohawk, Kanyangeha, which is part of the Haudenosaunee Confederacy of six main groups, but we actually had hundreds in our confederacy. And there are elders now who are hoping to sort of spread the idea of the confederacy even to like Iraq and Afghanistan, because the idea of confederacy is to promote peace and a peaceful way of life. So in our creation story, we believe that there are pieces of star that come down into the waters, and then that's how we're actually created. So once the star joins with the waters, then there's a little tadpole, and then it sort of swims around until it comes to the earth and becomes us. So this is a Yoji Stokwa. I'll give you another word, Yoji Stokwa. Try that, Yoji Stokwa. So that means stars. And we have a lot of beautiful stories about the stars and the moon. I'll just tell you the quick one for the stars is that it's Grandma's jewelry, her glittering jewelry in the sky. So next to me on my left is one of my favorite students in the entire world, a very spiritual being, Anjali George. So she's not in the program, she's a special surprise guest. Aren't we lucky? We're all lucky. All right, so this is Ochikeda.
From the stars I came to bring you light. The eagles carried me all through the night. Spirit particles flown down to earth, joined with waters to create a birth. Ochikeda, lay down with me. Ochikeda, you set me free. Ochikeda, lay down with me. Ochikeda, you help me be. I've traveled light years searching for true love. When swirling patterns beckoned from above, I thought the fire had died with lies I was taught. I found you in the desert, my heart you caught. We'll make this teepee rise, just close your eyes. Come ride Comanche over starlit skies. Ochikeda, lay down with me. Ochikeda, you set me free. Ochikeda, lay down with me. Ochikeda, you help me be. Yoji Stokwa, Ochikeda, Yoji Stokwa. 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 You take my breath away when I feel you. I see you everywhere. You see me too. Remember who we are, the reason why. Fly away cicada, yo just don't want. Yo just don't want. Oh, cicada, yo just don't want. Yo just don't want. Oh, cicada, yo just don't want. Yo just don't want. Oh, cicada, yo just don't want.
This is like the heavy metal of avant-garde Navajo music. All right, are you ready for this? So like after you get the little sweet nothing, then you go a little wild, I guess. So Raven Chacon is one of my heroes. He does these art installations all over the world. His latest one he's doing is set up now in the Arizona desert. He did these 8-foot sculptures made out of steel that are also instruments. So they vibrate with the wind of the desert, making music on the side of the road of the desert. And they are to look sort of like yays, like the sort of monsters from the Navajo tradition, these shapes that are maybe prophetic of, they look a lot like electrical towers, and, but they're old shapes that now sort of look in a modern way in these electrical towers. So some of what Raven does is he takes electronics, tears them apart, and creates new instruments out of them. And some people call him a noise musician. I guess we could call him a lot of different things, but he's certainly a consummate artist on many levels. He did one piece the other day in class where he showed slides of different beautiful canyons in Arizona. And what he did is he took microphones and recorded them at a very low volume, well, at a low volume, just the sound of what the air sounded like as it passed through these caverns and canyons. And then he amplified it by 1,000 times so that we could actually hear them. And so he played the pictures, and then he would play the music. And the first two really sounded pretty similar, like a lot of wind and very loud, right? And then the third one, though, really sounded different. And his explanation was, I have no idea. I have no idea why they sounded different, but he goes, maybe they were ghosts there, maybe there were spirits there, or maybe my microphone was turned differently. Like, he really didn't know how they sounded different. But his experiments fascinate me, how he works with the land and the environment to create these different, very unusual sounds. So I'm hoping that switched your brain enough from the little sweetness to this intensity that is awesome, I think is awesome. So.
That was a microphone that I made that when I blow into it, it overloads all the other signals that I'm sending. So it kind of interrupts signals and then blends with the other signals. And then when I add the the bone whistle to it, then that just tears it apart, really. But it, yeah, that's all that upper register is what gets combined when I add the whistle to it. But yeah, it's not like a Peter Frampton blow tube or anything. It's a microphone. It's not air based. Other than me breathing, you know, like my internal sounds of my mouth and my breathing.
So you've been on quite a journey, haven't you? A musical journey here. Aren't I lucky? I get to do all kinds of music. It's sort of fun. All right. You know, I don't think in the program I put the names of that movements. So that one was called Like a Chaste Animal, Song 1. Song 2 is Shy for a Singer, Looking for Your Grandfather. And then Song 3 is Quiet but Proud, Like Singing at Night. So here's Song 2. do you stay as authentic as possible to Native American tradition when we do contemporary things? Is that what you? Oh, in a globalized world. Mm.
That's a good question.
Here, go into the mic. If you would.
That's a real good question. I don't. But you know, I don't. I just am. You know, I am who I am. But you know, it's still important to represent yourself. You know, if asked, and all of that is just a cumulative part of my music that ends up in the final outcome of it. And I guess it's the only time it ever comes up is just Q&As, I guess.
I know for me it's very separate. Like my longhouse ceremony music is very separate from music that I do on stage, though I might use some traditional elements like Mohawk language or stories. The traditional music is, for me, very separate from my stage music, I guess you'd say. Do you want to add something?
Yeah, for me, it's definitely rooted in tradition. It's I like the saying, to know form, you have to know form to break form. And so for me, it's like deep-seated, rooted traditions, and then branching out to other genres and breaking form and playing with that. So I feel like I can always like go back to the nest or go back home.
Hmm. Does music help us connect to the universe around us?
Well, it should. Music is it's very expressive. It's unlike a painting. I can't. I went to the mall, the National Mall here in Washington, D.C., and saw many paintings. It really didn't do anything for me. But music, I mean, it's expression. It's integrity of your expression is really what music is. So, I mean, you have no choice but to be connected to the universe. I mean, that's, you have no choice, really. But expression is, you bring to it and you take from it.
An early inspiration was my grandfather. He sings Navajo music. And just a lot of heavy metal, Slayer, stuff like that.
Oh, really?
Yeah. The Beatles, I love the Beatles, but you know, more and more a big influence, or I find myself not listening to recorded music so much these days, and just strictly live music, going to a lot of concerts and bars and seeing bands and, you know, concerts like this, and just whenever I can, and that's how I've experienced probably 95% of the music I listen to.
Well, for me, it's probably structure. I mean, a quick example would be if you took a simple song like Happy Birthday or Mary Had a Little Lamb, you know, if you played each of the tones equal lengths, it wouldn't make sense. It wouldn't come across as music. It'd just be noise. So it's structure. If I had to quote two composers, it would be Beethoven and Charles Ives.
All right. I love Jimi Hendrix. I love Stravinsky. I love my mom and my dad. I could get really spiritual and talk about the Dalai Lama. I mean, I guess there's a lot of influences in my life. I guess most recently, I would say I've been learning a lot of my ceremonies, so that's been influencing me a lot, maybe in the last 12 years. And then vibration, like I like to study different vibrations. So whenever I travel, I was touring for a long time with a string quartet. We played Delta Blues, and I would go to all these different countries, and try to find out what the indigenous music was in every country. And a lot of people would say, we have no indigenous music, which we know isn't true, right? Or to try to find what the sacred music is in that area, because I was interested in how the vibrations worked in different areas around the world. So that's a very long answer, actually. Sorry about that. There's what are your influences, hon?
I guess my influences are just like, I'm really rooted in stories. So I love just everyday people. You get so much from them. been lucky enough and blessed enough to like travel around. And so with my mentor, Kevin Locke, who I mentioned, and a bunch of other, really great teachers. And so I just like talking to people from where they're from, whether it's like a nurse somewhere or some janitor guy, or I don't know. I find like people in the story so fascinating, influential. Another thing that's being influenced to me is the land. I love environments. Like right now I live in New York City, but I love going out to like South Dakota, or I love going back home to the Great Lakes. I find, such inspiration there.